Yes.
What you would do after a camping trip or a holiday vacation. There was no holiday involved here. It was simply an historic flyby of the moon that occurred several days ago. Once again, we're about 30 minutes out from our final public affairs event of this mission, a conversation between members of Congress and the crew of Board Integrity as we approach the halfway mark of their trip home back to Earth from the moon.
Wireless mic, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Copy, blast off. Good scene and voice. We'll be ready on time.
And we have the camera off just to prevent overheating and battery drain. Confirm you got a good image coming down.
We do have an image coming down.
You know, Jackie, snark does carry across the cosmos.
That delayed smile made me feel very good.
Good evening, Artemis 2 crew. As you all approach your final day on this historic journey around the moon, the people of Earth remain inspired by your mission. They are energized by space exploration, and most importantly, they're eager to have you all home very soon. Now, NASA couldn't execute on our important mission without the steadfast support we receive from the United States Congress, who work with the agency to make sure it has the right direction to expand American leadership in space and the necessary resources to execute on our world-changing mission. Now, we have several NASA congressional supporters online today, and they have a few questions they'd like to ask you on behalf of their constituents across the country.
I can only imagine the awe and wonderment you feel, but I want to just start by saying thank you. You are inspiring. That is not hyperbole when Jared speaks about the people of Earth. Across the planet, people are watching you and amazed, watching you put food packets away, as we were doing just a few minutes ago, watching you float around with the floating head, and you are bringing people together all across our globe. So thank you. Thank you for your good cheer. Thank you for your eloquence. Thank you for inspiring people. I have two questions. Number one, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself at age 10, what would you tell yourself about going to the moon? And then question two, if and when they make a movie about this, who do you want to play you?
Well, sir, it's an honor to be with all of you, and please say hello to all of our colleagues there at Johnson Space Center. We can't wait to be back. My 10-year-old self, I recently found some photos of myself on a family vacation at Kennedy Space Center, and we were posing in front of the Saturn V rocket with my siblings and my parents. And if I could have told that little girl who took home a picture of Earthrise and hung it in her room that she would eventually launch from that same place to see that same view, I'm pretty sure she would not believe it. But even though I still can't believe it, and she certainly wouldn't believe it, she chased that dream, and it ended up happening. It's such an honor to hear that we've inspired. That's truly one of the top things that we ever wanted to do. And I am definitely not answering the movie question. That's going to be for Reed.
Senator Cruz, it's great to talk to you, and thank you for visiting our friends and family there at the Johnson Space Center. That is fantastic. We've thought a little bit about the movie, and I think that's way out of our pay grade. So we don't know who's going to play us. That's up to whoever decides. But one thing we do know for certain is this guy is going to be played by Buzz Lightyear, 100%, no doubt.
I have a question from one of our local voters here in Indian River County. Her name is Renee, and she said, what were you thinking when you were going around the moon, the furthest ever from Earth, on the dark side of the moon? We'd love to hear your thoughts as you made your way around the moon out of radio contact.
So during the time of the nearest approach to the moon, we were doing so much science. I took a brief moment to say a short prayer of gratitude for being sent on this mission and trusted with, bringing back scientifically relevant information. And I also just felt like I was hoping that people looked up and were watching to see when we came back into communication, and that maybe there was a chance that folks would feel a sense of togetherness. We have a moment of silence whenever something is solemn and that requires reverence, or someone that we love has passed away, but maybe we could call it a moment of togetherness. As we were in radio silence, I was really hoping that we could just have a sense. You heard the word togetherness a lot from our crew, and really was hoping that while we were waiting to get back in contact, that people could just feel that sense of togetherness, that we were all a crew on Spaceship Earth.
And integrity, just over 10 minutes ago, as you were having that event, you passed the halfway home mark.
Okay, copy that, Jackie. Sounds like the next 24 hours we're gonna accelerate quite a bit then.
Absolutely.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. The final targeting for the upcoming return trajectory correction burn, or RTC2 burn, has been completed, and we do expect that RTC burn to take place in about 29 minutes from now. As of right now, it's expected to be a 5.37 foot per second delta velocity burn and approximately a 9-second burn. So we'll be using the 8 auxiliary pulse-X thrusters on the Orion spacecraft. Here in Mission Control Houston, the team on console is currently conducting their go, no-go poll for that upcoming return trajectory correction burn. And again, this burn will further fine-tune the trajectory and the path of the Orion spacecraft as it makes its final approach ahead of that re-entry and splashdown targeted for Friday, April 10th.
Integrity Houston, tank pressures are good for the burn.
Integrity copies.
Integrity Houston, maneuver to burn attitude starting in approximately 3 minutes.
We're expecting the same. Thanks, Amy.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We are currently about 10 minutes away from the start of the Return Trajectory Correction 2 burn, or RTC2. This is expected to be about a 9.41 second burn with an expected delta velocity change of 5.37 feet per second, using the 8 pulse-X thrusters on the Orion spacecraft to further fine-tune the trajectory of the Orion spacecraft on its path back towards Earth. Currently on your screen, you can see a view of the Artemis Real-Time Orbit website, or ARO. The Orion spacecraft is currently traveling at a velocity of about 3,400 miles per hour, and it is about 114,000 miles away from Earth. Earlier today, it did pass the halfway point of its return back to Earth. Again, it is expected to splash down off the coast of San Diego, California on Friday, April 10th around 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time. In just a few moments, we should hear confirmation called up to the crew that Orion is in burn attitude. The Orion spacecraft is currently maneuvering to that burn attitude.
Integrity Houston, Integrity is in burn attitude.
Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We are now just under 30 seconds away from the time of ignition of that upcoming return trajectory correction burn, which will be the start of that burn. Again, it is expected to be about a 9.41 second burn using the 8 auxiliary pulse-X thrusters on the Orion spacecraft's service module to generate a 5.37 foot per second change in delta velocity. And we do have confirmation that the return trajectory correction burn has started, that taking place at 9:53 p.m. Central Time, 10:53 p.m. Eastern Time. And we also now have confirmation that the burn has completed, again, that taking place at 9:53 p.m. Central Time, 10:53 p.m. Eastern Time.
Integrity Houston, good burn. We are assessing the details.
We see the same and copy.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas, and we do have that confirmation that the recent return trajectory correction burn was completed, and it was a good burn. Teams on the ground assessing the details, but it was expected to be a 9.41 second burn for a 5.37 foot per second delta velocity. Again, these return trajectory correction burns help to fine-tune the Orion spacecraft's path as it makes its way back to Earth, and this was the second in a series of 3 return trajectory correction burns, with that first return trajectory correction burn taking place on flight day 7, and the final return trajectory correction burn is expected to take place on flight day 10, about 5 hours prior to entry interface.
Integrity Houston, confirm a good burn, and prop post-burn reconfiguration is complete.